Hello students, welcome to Accounting 1329, Payroll and Business Tax Accounting. This is Dr. Mercado speaking, and this lecture is going to be covering a quick overview of what to expect during weeks 15 and 16, in which we are going to be completing a semester payroll project. Okay. Now the semester payroll project is basically allowing students an opportunity to use an automated general ledger software system to simulate how a real company would use a general ledger software system to maintain payroll records and payroll journal transactions. Okay. So this is going to be more of a hands-on application. I know you have not been exposed in the semester to using a software system. That is why at the end of the semester I decided to give students 2 full weeks so they can have some hands-on experience actually utilizing the software and seeing its different features. Okay. Now the payroll project is going to be completed in 2 weeks. I've given students what I think is more than enough time to complete the project. It's not extremely time consuming, but I do want students to have the time, sufficient time to be able to become familiar with the software system and get a better understanding of it. The semester payroll project is worth 200 points. That is 20% of your overall grade. So I highly encourage all students to please complete the project, okay? Do not leave it for the last minute, and please put a lot of effort into doing it well. Now, let me jump over to the actual course, okay? What are we doing weeks 15 and 16? The only thing that you're going to be working on weeks 15 and 16 is that project. Now, if you go to the module overview, you'll have a little overview about the project, okay? We are working on the short version of the project. There's 2 versions, the long version and the short version, okay? The long version is very, very long. You would basically be working on it 8 hours a day and not finish it. It's very tedious. My goal here is not to overwhelm you with work because I know you all have a lot of other classes, a lot of other projects and assignments to do. My goal is not to overwhelm you at the end of the semester. That is why I'm assigning the short version of the project, which will allow you to still get hands-on experience using the software, but at a more toned down level, where you're not gonna have to put as much time into it. And it's basically, once you master it, it's just a repeat over and over and over and over. So there's no point to repeating it 20 times if you can just do it 3 times and understand what you're doing. Okay. So in addition, during weeks 15 and 16, students also need to begin studying and preparing for your final exam. Okay, so before I move on to the project, the final exam review is posted on Blackboard. I'm just giving you a quick overview of what's going on. Okay, the final exam review is posted. The final exam is going to be available from Monday, May the 9th, 2022 through Wednesday, May the 11th, 2022 at 11 p.m. You're going to have 3 days to complete the final 2 attempts, okay? These are the problems that are going to be covered on your final. All of these problems have been covered in your past homework assignments, okay? Please make sure that you mark your calendars because for this time, for the final, there will be no extensions or no makeups. So if you miss it, you miss it. Finals are due, you're going to complete your final exam on Wednesday. Thursday morning, I'm waking up, I'm calculating final grades, and I'm submitting them. So if you forget to do the final, you are going to be out of luck because I would have already submitted your final grades the following morning, okay? So please be responsible. Put it in your calendar. That way you know the time frame that you have to complete the final for the class, okay? The final exam is worth 150 points. That's 15% of your overall grade, okay? So make sure that you review the final exam information, okay? Okay, so now let's go back to the project, okay? Before you begin working on the project, make sure that you read Appendix D. Okay, let me go into the Appendix D. So I know that we do not like to read, but it is very important that we read the instructions. I am not going to read over the instructions for you. I'm just telling you what is it that you need to do. Okay. So the first thing is you go to your Appendix D and you're going to be reading the information. Okay. Now it explains to you that there's 2 options, the long and the short version. Both versions are identical except that the short version requires only the completion of the December payroll. Okay. I'm not going to have you do September, October, November, and December. I'm just having you do the December payroll, but you're still going to be learning the same thing, okay? The short version step-by-step instructions begin on page D23 of the appendix, okay? So this is the payroll project, the long version, and then the full project, which we're not doing. Here we have the short version. This is what we're going to be working on, okay? So make sure that you read this information, okay? So basically it tells you that the payroll project follows the online version of the project completed manually in Chapter 7. We did not complete the manual project in Chapter 7 because it is extremely long, extremely tedious. I've assigned it before in prior semesters and it has been a complete failure, okay? So I don't want to overwhelm you with stuff. Okay, that is not my intent. This is just an introductory payroll class. If you are going to be doing payroll, I'm sure you're going to be taking more payroll related classes in the future. I just want you to learn the fundamentals of payroll for now, okay? So we did not do the Chapter 7 project, but that is no issue because in the short version of the project, you're going to get exposure to what is it that you would have covered in that long project, but only for that specific section that we're working on, okay? You're going to be basically an employee for Globe Bright Paying Company. And you're going to be responsible for the company's payroll processing using the computerized payroll system, which is what I want you to get experience on. Okay. You are going to be processing the payroll for the last month of the year. Um, to get started, you are going to be provided with the November payroll as a tutorial problem that is going to illustrate basic principles and procedures required to process payroll transactions. So you're going to start off with November and then it's going to be a tutorial and then you're going to be doing on your own the 3 payroll periods for December, okay? If something new is going to be provided or asked of you, the system is going to provide you additional instructions the first time that you are exposed to that different component, okay? The project is broken down into several components and we're going to be looking at that in a minute. But just make sure that you read all of this information. It tells you how different taxes are calculated. It gives you the chart of accounts. We're doing the short project. This is what you're going to start off with the November 20th payroll. Read all of this information. It has very useful information. The employee list, items to be paid. Take the time to read this before you begin working on the project. I cannot emphasize it enough. Very important information is provided here, so make sure that you read it. Okay, I'm not going to go over it. It's too time consuming for me to record myself going through every little section. You all can read, figure it out, and then once you're done reading, you can actually begin working on the assignment, okay? So let me go back and launch the actual assignment. Okay, remember you have 2 weeks to complete the payroll project. Okay, first read the appendix, become familiar with all of the information provided in the appendix, and when you've done so, then you can begin working on the project. Okay. Now the project has 4 parts. The first one is a tutorial. Pay extra attention to the tutorial because that's the one that's going to basically give you the step-by-step instructions of what is it that you need to do. Okay, so basically you're going to select the one that you want to do. Make sure that you do it in sequential order. Start with the 20th, then do December 4th, then the 14th, then the 18th. Okay, once you select it, you're going to open the general ledger tab and it's going to take you to the actual system. Okay, now once you begin, you're going to be prompted with instructions, okay? It's going to give you like a little tour of the system, okay? Follow the tour. Do not skip the tour, okay? Follow the tour, and it basically is going to tell you, give you information about the layout of the software, how to expand and collapse the panels, the instructions, where you're going to locate the instructions. What is it that you need to do? These are the instructions, and as you can see, there's 14 tasks on this first project. Okay. If you need to look at source documents, the system will basically tell you, okay, now we're going to refer to source document 2. If you need to look at the source document, you go down here to this button, and you will be able to locate the source documents. Okay. If you can see, You'll see the source documents. For every source document, you will also have a tab with instructions. Okay. You have a calculator that you can use. Save your work. If you're working on it and you need to stop for whatever reason, make sure that you save your work. There is no need that you need to complete it in one sitting. Impossible. Okay. I don't expect you to do that. But make sure that if you have to get up from your computer, do not leave it without saving your work. Okay. If you're done with the assignment, then you have the submit button. Okay. You have your check your works. If you're working on it, you have the option to check your work. Now, I'm being very nice, you would say, because I'm giving you unlimited check your works for this assignment. Why? The goal of this assignment is for you, the student, to gain an understanding, have some experience working with a payroll system. Okay. If I limit you to one try, well, you're really not going to figure out how to do it. Okay. The only way to learn how to use systems is by using them, by trying one time, two times, three times, however times is necessary until you figure it out. Okay. And once you figure it out, you take good notes. That way, next time you have to do it, you already have your notes handy and you know how to do it. If you do this every day, you're going to memorize it. Okay. I want students to feel comfortable with using the system. So students have been provided unlimited check your works. Okay. That way you can use it comfortably and not, oh, well, I don't want to click the check my work because I only have one try or two tries. No. Okay. Play with the system. Become comfortable with the system. You have additional options menu up here if you need any additional items. There's a help button if you have a question as you're completing your assignment. You can ask the system and it'll prompt you with different possible solutions to your question. Okay, this is a simulation area. This is where you're going to be performing your tasks. Okay, this is the module menu. This is the different modules that we're going to be using. Now we're using the software for payroll related purposes. So we're going to have access to the general ledger, the payroll, and the reports. Okay. And we have, the option to collapse or expand our menu option. We have, it highlights the menu that you are currently in or currently utilizing. You have the top menu, which is where you're going to be performing a lot of your tasks. Okay. This is where you're going to be maintaining accounts, vendors, general ledger, general journals, all of that good stuff. Okay. This is a window, and this is an example of a general journal. If you need to search for a transaction, add a new entry, delete, adjust, whatever it is that you need to do, you can do it here. Okay. It gives you the window list, how many windows you have open. Okay. So you basically have a dashboard. You just go through the motion, you read through all of this information, and then you become familiar with everything that's provided. Okay. And then you can begin working on your assignment. Okay. For the assignment, you have instructions that you have to follow. Okay, so you're going to read the instructions. For example, here they're asking you to change the date. Make sure that it's November the 20th. If it's not, you need to change it. Okay. Then you go to the next one. It says from the general ledger module, select account list and chart of accounts. Okay. So you need to make sure that you locate the general ledger module. Okay. Select account lists. Okay, we are in the general ledger module. You see, if you hover over it, it gives you the name. Okay, so the first one is a company, banking, general ledger, okay, payroll, and reports. Those are the ones that we have available for this simulation. So they're telling you to go to the general ledger, which we're in, and then they're telling you to go to account lists, which we have here, and then chart of accounts. So you just follow the instructions. Okay, you can make it bigger, and then this chart of accounts includes account used in the payroll entries, blah blah blah. Okay, review the account names and classifications. You will use these accounts. So it basically is telling you what to do here. So I am not going to go over the whole kaboom with you. You read the instructions and you do what you need to do. Okay, now on this one, third one, they're asking you to do an edit, and it tells you how to do it, where to go to do it. Okay, so if you need to see your source documents, the source documents are down here. And basically, if you have to use a source document, it'll tell you, like right here. The report is shown in source document number 1. Okay. So the employee list November 20th. So in this particular item, they're asking you to use source document 1. So you're going to go here to the source documents. It gives you instructions. Okay. And then this is the source document that you're going to be using to complete that specific task. Okay. You can print it so you can have it in front of you. Whatever it works, but you always have the instructions and the source documents. Okay. So you're going to go through the motions, complete all of the different tasks for this particular section. Okay. As you complete them, you can check your work. It'll give you a score down here. That way you know if you're doing it right or wrong, or you can make any changes. Okay. And then you can either save your work if you are going to leave and not complete it, or if you get done with the whole section, you can submit it for grading. Okay. And the system is automatically going to grade the assignment for you. Okay. And when you're done with this particular section, you can go and you can start on the December 4th payroll. It's going to basically the same thing. You launch the payroll. Okay. If you feel comfortable with using the system, you can skip the tour. It's basically the repeat of going over the different areas of the system. Okay. If you feel comfortable, you skip the tour. If you still don't feel very comfortable, you go through the motions and it will go over the different items in the simulation here. Okay. And then you can begin working on your instructions. Okay. You have 13 items or 13 tasks to complete on this second part. Okay. So that's how students are gonna be completing the assignment. It's 4-part. You just basically follow the instructions provided and you do the tasks based on what you are told to do. Okay. Be very careful that you read and understand what is it that you need to do. Don't just be clicking buttons because the system's telling you to click buttons. No. Okay, the system's telling me to do this. What does it mean? What am I doing? Okay, if I enter a journal, what is it going to affect? Well, it's automatically going to update my ledgers. Okay. I'm going to run several reports. Well, what are these reports good for? Okay. Ask yourself questions as you're working the assignment. Okay. So like I said, this is how the simulation area will look like. These are the tasks that need to be completed. You have 2 weeks to do it, which is more than enough time. The assignment is worth 200 points. So make sure that you do it. Now don't get confused over here that it says long version. It's not the long version, it's the short version. It's just that I have manually selected to just do the 3 last payroll periods instead of doing September, October, November, and December. Okay, so just follow the prompts for these 4 assignments, and then if you do well on your first attempt, awesome. If not, a second attempt is provided. Okay, so those are the things that you're going to be working on for weeks 15 and 16. That payroll project. Okay, read the appendix and start working on your payroll project, and make sure that you complete it by the deadline, which is May the 8th. Also, during this 2-week time frame, review for the final exam. Okay. Now, before I leave you, I also want to remind and ask all students to please go into Blackboard and look at your Blackboard gradebook. Okay. I need students to review your Blackboard gradebook because that is the gradebook that I am going to use to calculate your final grades. Now, I don't know the assignments that you've completed or not completed. So you need to go in there and say, okay, are all of my grades correct on my Blackboard gradebook? If you identify any errors or discrepancies, please let me know as soon as possible before the semester ends. That way I can make sure that I do a research and I update your grades. Okay. What's going to happen? You're going to take your test from Monday through Wednesday. Okay. Wednesday night, the final exam closes. On Thursday morning, I'm waking up, I'm calculating final grades, and I'm submitting them to the Office of Admissions and Records. Mark your calendars because I will not be allowing any makeups for missed final exams. You need to take responsibility and ownership of the assignment due date, so mark your calendars and make sure that you complete the test within the allotted time frame, okay? Because no extensions or makeups will be granted, okay? So just make sure that you complete your final exam by the due date. And if you find any errors on your Blackboard gradebook, let me know immediately so I can make those corrections, okay? Don't wait for the last minute to let me know. It won't take you but 5 minutes to go into your Blackboard gradebook and confirm that all of the grades for all of the assignments that you have completed are properly reflected, okay? And if any errors or discrepancies are identified, you let me know immediately. Okay, so that is it for this lecture. I hope all of you enjoy working on this simulation problem and actually getting some exposure and hands-on experience to using an actual automated general ledger software system. Okay, so that is it. Pace yourself, take your time to complete the project, and that is it. Remember, if you have questions or concerns, do not hesitate to reach out to me. And until next time, have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye bye.